Howdy folks. Looks like the last, I guess part 5 of the right fork video just got finished uploading. So I wanted to set you a video up, kind of giving you an overview of what the mine looks like from the survey. My survey skills are right up there with, well, I don't know, give a group of howler monkeys 47 espressos and anger them in some obtuse way. So not that good. But nevertheless, I wanted to show you how everything kind of lays out. When you're going through the videos, you really can't get an idea of how everything lays out. And honestly, even Kyle and myself, if we went into them, we didn't have a good idea where everything laid out, because you're more interested in getting kind of a look at everything. So you kind of get turned around a little bit and you're not sure which direction you're heading, and you don't have a good idea where some of these drifts are going, things like that. So this is kind of the overview map here. I'm going to put on a black and white background so you can kind of get a good idea of, so all of the lines stand up. If we went into the 2017 imagery, some of those blue lines kind of disappear into the background with the trees. So let's start off on the northern part of the map. The orange lines there, that's all the left fork. And then where it comes together down there on the far west side, north being up in this case, we come together on that far west side, and those red lines, the red lines are all the right fork. The blue lines there are all drifts that we were able either to fairly accurately guesstimate the length of them or actually measure. If you go off that right fork, the longest one going back towards the northwest, that's a 29-foot one we have a video of specifically. And then the next one to the right of that is where I said I wouldn't actually get climb over the rocks. Look at some more of the colors there. Any of those yellow lines that aren't arrows, the yellow lines are drifts or stopes that we don't have a good idea how long they are, or how big they are. There's a couple of them there, mostly on the right fork, that we really just don't have a good idea. What's kind of interesting is that second set of yellow lines there, if you're walking down the right fork, that one, I don't know how far back it goes, but I do know it breaks back towards the portal and goes in there a ways. So it's kind of interesting there. And then that last yellow line there, far right, that one's interesting insofar that there are not necessarily one line there we don't know, but that's a whole group of stopes back there. It might be as big as the finals. I call it the chapel stope down there. That big, the big stope that we look at the end of video 5, or part 5 on the right fork. I call it the chapel because I'm praying that the termites don't all sneeze and that post doesn't fall in there. That's a big area. So I'd be willing to concede at this point that that last yellow line there probably contains an area equal to or greater than the actual size of the chapel stope down there. And there's actually more areas in that yellow line area there that I think that actually are bigger than the chapel stope. If you move up, going back to the north, that pink line there, that's where the descent of the mine is pretty steep. That's 20 degrees, I figured, give or take. I actually measured it out. It comes to like 22 degrees going down. So that's the steepest part. As an overview, I guess you could say it looks like a lot of these lines kind of get close to each other. You got to consider the fact that the left fork, all the orange lines, are actually going up in an incline above from the starting point. I'll show you the starting point is right down here. Starting point is actually about 20 foot inside the mine itself, because it's been backfilled. So that starting point then is the measurement of the starting point for all the measurements from in this mine. So the orange going up, the red line is all going down. And that's kind of what we're looking at. The purple and green line there together in the middle, that's the porthole adit. I mean, not adit, porthole crosscut. The green line starting at the bottom going up is kind of where we know where it ends. I measured that. And then the purple line going from the orange coming down to the red, the purple line is where we know the terminus is up at the top. Judging by how the rocks fell in there, I got a feeling that she was shot from the bottom going up to that area up there. So we started at the right fork and probably move our way up the crosscut, moving up to the left fork. That's just a rough hypothesis on my part at least. Now those two bright green lines there where the mine takes an abrupt turn on the right fork, that's just a large stoped out area on both sides. There's alcoves on both sides of that. And that break point right there isn't that defined. As you can tell that video 5 of the right fork, it kind of rolls around a little bit, kind of arcs there. I didn't bother measuring that. I just basically took the point before it, the point after, from the directional change and went with that. I didn't need to see how far it rolls around the corner. I just need to know which directions it is going in general, a general idea which way we're going at the end of that curve there. Also up on that on the left fork, there's some general curves up there too I don't bother with. Just as long as I have a good heading for every 15-20 feet which direction she's going, so I can get a good point of reference for all that up there. Going back down to the right fork, because it's obviously the most interesting to me and probably to y'all as well. Where that, across from the chapel stope, down there at the very bottom, you see that little arrow there? That area shows a lot more promise there. That line, if that ore still holds good values, there's a lot of potential for more stoping behind there, and so following that, because obviously there's still a lot of ore in that wall back there. So we don't know what that's looking like yet, so we'll have to get the assays on and kind of get an idea what's going on there. But this is the general layout of it. Overall, she's, with the drifts and the crosscut, she's probably close to 600, maybe 700 foot total workings. Obviously, we don't know about a lot of those yellow line drifts, how big those are. I think I'm actually missing 2 in there somewhere along, and they're both on the south side of the red, of the right fork and the red up there before she breaks down going to that steep descent. But anyway, this is what we're looking at overall. So you got that to cross-reference with. Y'all have a great day, folks. Until next time, we might be back out there pretty soon. We've still got to map out some other stuff there. We need to map out the mud limonite vein adit better, get the spider holes done, and then we'll hopefully start doing some crawling around inside this part on the Shade Adit here and get an idea what we're going to look at, and really hopefully just get in there and spend 10-15 minutes, or spend a day just looking at the ore, which is really what you need to do. There's just too much down there to see, and even with the Green Mountain Mine, every time I go into it I find something a little bit different. About the first 10 trips it was always something popping out that I hadn't seen before. And now the ore here isn't as diverse as it is in the Green Mountain Mine, but the potential here is much higher, we think, at this point, knowing that this thing ran from a ½ ounce to 2 ounces on average. So there's some anecdotal evidence of mines in the area that hit 100 ounce per ton areas. I don't know if that was actual, they had a ton that had 100 ounces, or they had assays where you had an 1.5 inch thick piece of ore that would have assayed out at that. Assays can kind of be manipulated, statistics being what they are. Anyway, we're done with this one. Until next time around, folks, hope you enjoyed them. Bye bye.